So if you have ever been to a fancy five-star restaurant, or even just a really good quality restaurant, I will tell you one of the secrets to chefs that has been going on for a while is something called sous vide. Basically what we're doing with sous vide is we are cooking at a constant temperature under vacuum. What that does is it intensifies flavor. It cooks perfectly every time. You will never, ever have an over or well-done piece of steak, chicken, eggs. It's also a wine chiller. Why? Because it maintains that temperature, and it has been the secret of chefs everywhere for years and years and years. Some of the best meals I've ever had, so I know the best steaks I've ever had, have been sous vide style cooked. Why? Because every other cooking method, basically, Justin, that's out there, basically, the cooking method is to remove moisture. When we grill, we remove moisture. When we boil, we remove moisture. When we steam, all these different things, outside of pressure cooking, which is good for a lot of things, but not for everything. This is one of the best ways you can cook because you maintain the proper temperature without drying the food out.
Right.
And I think the big obstacle for people is like, ooh, sous vide, that's too fancy for me.
Right, and you know what, it's funny because you know the history of sous vide, that's very clear. You're very knowledgeable, and essentially nowadays when we talk about sous vide, especially at Food and Wine, we talk about cooking in a water bath, even though it gets more technical than that, but because believe it or not, sous vide has been around since 1799.
Forever.
That's when cooking in under vacuum first became a thing, but then it was revolutionized in the 60s by American and French engineers as a preservation technique. But the reason why you haven't seen it at home is because it's been way too expensive.
Right.
But we've been able to develop a product now that is totally affordable, and actually today it's extremely affordable.
Yeah. Let me tell everybody the deal really quick before you get started, because once you go, I don't want you to stop. But this machine will cook your food absolutely perfectly every time. You will never overcook a piece of food and never throw it away either. And you can do it with seafood, meats, veggies, eggs, all kinds of different things. But today's price, to Justin's point, is $40 off our regular low price, because these are $200 to $300 to $400. There's thousands of dollars worth of machinery that you can buy with sous vide, and big industrial restaurants do that. We've created it for home use for only $89.95. They also threw in free shipping, and it's only $17.99 to get it home. And honestly, you know, listen, it's not about, and please, it's not about like cooking instantly. It's not like microwaving your food. The results are better than any other cooking method I've ever seen.
Better than any cooking method you will ever experience. Like, this is the slow cooking of the future. Now let me give you a really quick tour of our really awesome sous vide cooker. So if you look here, it's really simple. There's just a few buttons. So this is your little temperature button. So what you do is you click that, and then you can select your temperature. So I'm doing a roast beef, believe it or not. You're gonna see how amazing this is. And I'm also doing filet mignon. So I want it to be medium rare. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit 125. And then you can select the time that you'd like to cook. So if you go into work and you know it's gonna be 8 hours, you just hit 8 hours, and then you hit go. And that's it. And as long as you select the correct temperature here, it will keep the water at that temperature indefinitely. And therefore your food will never, ever go over that temperature. Like, it's literally the most precise form of cooking.
You can't control your grill, you can't control your oven, you can't control your stove. The water temperature you can.
And how many times do you have to calibrate your oven?
Oh my gosh.
So check this out. So I'm making roast beef. So you make roast beef in the oven, and first of all, you buy a roast beef, right? I'm gonna show you with this one here. You buy a roast beef, and it automatically comes like with a tapered end, and then you have your thicker end. So if you're doing this in the oven, this side's gonna be overcooked.
It's gonna be well done.
By the time this is medium rare, this is well done.
Because that's getting more heat.
Right, but in a sous vide, it's impossible to do that. Check this out.
What?
Because you get edge to edge even cooking.
Oh my gosh.
Like, look at that. And I'm gonna, just to show you, I'm gonna flip it around. Now watch this. I'm going to the thinner end. Can you not believe this? Look at this.
Gosh.
Look at this. Look how juicy that. It's the exact same temperature as the thick end.
And then, when you're cooking this over time, it becomes more tender.
Yes.
Right? Because we're not rushing it.
It becomes more tender. And not only that, but you saw all the delicious juices I poured in here.
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about. We cook to remove moisture. But here, we're maintaining all of that delicious flavor.
Look at.
I mean, you cannot do that in a slow cooker, I promise.
Here you go.
Oops, oh, there we go. Get it in there, guys.
You gotta get the pepper in there. Yeah, there we go.
But you know,
so there's our pepper.
I'm gonna go ahead and hurry this along. Do you wanna add a little oil to this skillet here? Just a tiny bit, because we're gonna cook a steak, because I just wanna show you, you can do more than just a roast. You could do, you know, a beef tenderloin like I have here, and you just put it in there. The pan, I probably didn't have it up hot enough.
Okay, we'll crank it a little bit. Yeah, we'll crank it up.
And then you sear it on both sides. You don't have to, though, because it's fully cooked.
It is already cooked, and as we said, I want you to look at the vibrant color of these fillets and look at the exterior. This is a perfect medium rare, but all the way through, because even when you get a medium rare steak, it's well done around the ring, and it's red in the middle.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's literally the worst. And I'm a sucker, like, because I work in the food industry, I really don't like to send food back at a restaurant.
Yeah.
But you know, when I get a steak that's not cooked properly, it drives me nuts. Right. And you'll never do that, because as you could see here, if you want to do a close-up, you could see we have medium rare, medium, and then medium well. And all we did was we set the proper temperature in the water bath, put them in the little bags, and you could use any bag you want, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of the other sous vide cookers out there require you to buy special bags. You just use whatever bags you have at home. Look at this pork; it's already falling apart because we made pulled pork, ladies and gentlemen, right in our sous vide cooker. I'm gonna give you're gonna do the honors of giving me a little
barbecuing.
Yes, look at this.
What? Look at how it pulls apart.
Look at this pulled pork.
And look at how it's not gray on the inside. It still has the
juicy.
Look. Wow.
I got these handy dandy fingers here. Why don't you hit me with a little bit of that barbecue? I mean, forget about it. Look at this. All we did was we set this to about 175. We put it in before, last night, woke up, and we had pulled pork in the morning. But you can also do this right before you go to work. First of all, can we talk about Guy for a second, because he's helping me out over here. He's got the steak going.
He's cooking. Well, we were talking ahead of time, and we were talking about how much fun it is to do these shows, and that's what cooking should be. It should be fun. One of the things that takes away your fun is when you burn something or when you don't cook it properly.
This is true.
And let me tell you, the reason I don't cook in a restaurant, I love to cook at home, is because I make it fun and it's a way to relax me. I enjoy it. But I also have I have a little bit of the knowledge and the skills so that I don't burn things, and that's what makes it fun. There's no frustration.
Right.
This makes it easy to be able to do.
Totally easy. And if you're all nervous about doing what Guy's doing here, where he's searing it off, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it, because the sous vide, you put it in the bag, you put it in the perfect water temperature, and there you go. Now I'm doing poached salmon.
Oh my God.
Like poached salmon with a little lemon,
so you
a little dill. You put it right in there. You put it right in the bag, and bada bing, bada boom. That's why so one of the things I had here is I was able to cook the pork first and then lower the temperature. And I just want to show you this here. Look how juicy and perfect this salmon is. Put a little cracked pepper on it. This is the easiest, most delicious, cleanest poached salmon you'll ever make in your whole life.
Look at it. Do we have a fork so I can flake it a flake it?
Oh my gosh. Did we forget a fork? Get a knife.
I want you to see. Look, I want you to see this. Look.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Are we allowed to eat with our hands? No.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God.
Isn't that delicious?
It's like butter.
Now, this speaks to, salmon especially speaks to a very important thing of...
A little salt on there.
Put a little, I think I forgot to put salt in when I was rushing it before. But one of the important things about sous vide is it actually locks in all the flavor.
Yeah.
So salmon, as you know, has all the omega-3 fatty acids,
so the nutrients too. All the nutrients.
If you poach it in a traditional method, you're putting it into, a pot of water, and you're slow poaching it, but all of that omega-3 and all of those nutrients are going into the water, and they're lost forever.
And you lose them
because you're not drinking that water.
No, and you know what? And let's face it, steaming, I know it's good for you, but it doesn't add a lot of flavor. There's really, it's kind of a very neutral way. It's good with rice and veggies and things like that, but when you see veggies done, it's even better. Can I slice this filet? Would you mind if Do you mind if I come over and do it and save you a step? so here's the filet. I'll put it like that. Can you get a shot of it? We'll come live, Michael Gay. So tell everybody what we did with this, first of all.
So we put this in our little baggie. We put it into the sous vide water bath at 125, which is rare, medium rare.
Right.
And Guy just seared it for 30 seconds on each side. I mean, what was it?
Oh my God.
Look at this. Holy moly.
What? And you know what I love about it, Justin, is it's perfectly...
From edge to edge.
I probably don't even need this knife to cut this filet. But and talk to me about it, how tender the food is, too. Because when I was talking to the folks in the kitchen, the guys back there, they're like, oh my gosh, Guy, certain like meats, oh my gosh, you cook it over a long period of time. Look at this piece of filet.
Well, that's actually, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's actually another important piece here, which is that cooking sous vide actually saves you money. And the reason for that is because, so we're doing a filet mignon here, but if you do your pork shoulder, if you do your beef chuck, like the cheap cuts, the cuts of meat that you're spending $2.50 a pound, maybe you bought it in bulk and as a family pack, you can transform that meat into something that is juicy and delicious, and it maintains all that flavor with just simple salt and pepper, a bag, and your water bath.
That's the best. filet mignon I've ever had. Yeah, here, do a little salt. A little salt on it, just because a lot of salt, but anyway. How good is that? And just a little sear. We didn't even do this on the grill. I actually like my filet to be done in a pan like that because you get to taste more of the meat. That is so ridiculously good.
But you know what I love about this is because Guy only had to do about 30 seconds on each side, it didn't get like that tough crust.
No.
And you maintain the integrity of the meat because if you see here, I don't know if you can see, but you see how it's perfectly cooked from edge to edge.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's really juicy. Look at that.
Yeah, look at juices are in there.
Juices are there.
And no matter where we cut it, and I hate to beat this filet up, but no matter where we cut.
As long as we eat it, it's all good.
And then watch. This is where it would be well done, right? This is like almost like the end cap on a prime rib, right? I want to show you this. And I'm just taking a tiny bit off.
Look at that. And this is another money-saving tip here because think about when you buy filet mignon. So it's very expensive, right? And so you end up buying, let's say, a 12-ounce piece, and then you end up overcooking 10% of it, 15% of it, and then it's not as enjoyable. But here you can buy maybe a 10-ounce piece.
Sure.
And then the whole entire thing is like savory and melt in your mouth.
I had folks over my house for a dinner party, and I was sweating because I get a beef tenderloin tied at the butcher down the street, and he actually seasons it. And my fear is, if I overcook this, I'm going to shoot myself because it was $78 for a little beef. That's like a 3-pound, 4-pound tenderloin. You'll never overcook it. It works with eggs, steak, pork, fish, chicken, turkey. It doesn't matter. And I also love that, honestly, I think a lot of our chefs out there are aspiring chefs or cooks. They worry they're going to overcook it. They're not going to do it right. You can't make a mistake with this, Jess. You can't make a mistake.
Absolutely not. There is no mistakes, and that's the most important takeaway that I want everyone to leave with today, is that it's precision cooking. It's perfect food every single time. As long as you put the correct temperature onto your sous vide, and once again, I can show you how to do that. You just click the temperature, you select your proper temperature. So here, because I'm doing chicken, I want chicken breast, boneless, skinless, I want to keep them really moist, so I'm going to do 150 degrees here. And then I'm just going to pick the time. Here I have 7 hours and 41 minutes left because, believe it or not, Guy, and I want everyone to know this, you can leave this chicken in this water bath for those entire 8 hours.
See, I think people...
The entire 8 hours, and it will not overcook.
People think, like, let's do this scenario. So let's say I put something in an oven, a traditional oven, and I put it at 350. The reason it's going to overcook is because 350 is way too hot to be on the inside of your food. But if you leave it in there long enough, it's going to get there. When your temperature is only 133 and you take your time, it can never be more than 133, so it can never be well done.
Exactly.
That's the concept people don't understand.
That's the hardest part to understand about this, but that's actually the science behind it.
Right.
Is because the sous vide cooker maintains a consistent, precise temperature in the water bath, the water bath will never go over or under what the sous vide is set for. So therefore, no matter how long the food is in there, once it's cooked, it will never go over that temperature. And even better, so you see how I have chicken in here. Obviously, you want to cook chicken to 155, 150, 160. But because we already brought it to full temperature, I could either leave it at that temperature all day long while I'm at work, or I can reduce it down to, let's say, 133, because maybe I come home from work and I want to add a salmon fillet.
So
and salmon is
and since they're all in their own individual vacuum bags, you're not going to have cross contamination. You're not going to spread the flavor around. Honestly, it is it's one of the most exciting things that I've learned in cooking in the past 5 years, because pretty much cooking is cooking over the years, right? In the old days we'd roast things over a spit, and then we in fire, we do it that way. Then we found these other ways when electronic devices came in. This device is one of the most revolutionary ones to come around in so long, because you cannot make a mistake. And with traditional cooking, remember, you cook to get the center at a certain temperature. With this, you cook the whole thing at that center temperature, so it's perfectly tender from top to bottom, all the way through.
All the way through.
What is that? Is that turkey or pork?
So this is chicken.
Oh my God.
And look how juicy it is. You couldn't believe that it was chicken because look at all the juice. Please, I would love for you. This just has some Asian flavor, like some ginger, some soy sauce. And you touched on something just a minute ago, and you said you could put them all in their individual baggies. So talk about a family that has 4 people in it, 6 people in it, and everybody likes something different. You can do that because here, all at the same exact time, I made my Asian flavored chicken breast. Here we have barbecue seasoning, so a little paprika, some brown sugar, and look how tender this is. Like, I'm like not even putting any pressure on the knife.
You know, and you know what's funny is that chicken, it's a protein, and it can be tough, especially when it's cooked improperly. Anybody doesn't believe me? Take that chicken breast, throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and see what happens to that chicken breast.
Exactly.
It kills it.
I mean, can you see this?
Well,
look at all the juice coming out of here.
I can't get over the taste of it and how the mouthfeel is like completely different.
And think about if you're the type of person who likes to use rotisserie chicken, you'll never use rotisserie chicken again because
do it yourself.
You'll do it yourself. You'll put chicken breast, you'll put chicken thighs, anything you want. Pop it in.
We put our 5-minute clock up. I have 900 left of these. Please don't buy all of them because I'm going to get one when I get home tonight because I've wanted my own machine forever.
Yeah.
And I love food and wine and I know you stand behind this stuff and I'm telling you guys, this will be so much fun for you. Even if you just do it with your fancy steaks or with your even with your pot roast, things that aren't so fancy, you're gonna learn that this is such an easy thing and it's a science. And it's nothing chemical. It's simply even heating of the water or even chilling of the water, because that's what we're doing now. We're actually using it. When you move water, it moves that temperature around. It basically gets things going quicker.
Yeah, so believe it or not, we have a chill feature here, and all you do to use it is you create an ice bath, so you have just some ice, some water, and you hit chill, and rather than heating the water, all it does is circulate the water. Now, I was a little skeptical about this. I was like, how is that gonna work? What's the difference of putting a wine in an ice bath or putting it in a circulating ice bath? And so we did a test at Food & Wine where we did 2 side-by-side pots. And obviously, this is the Food & Wine 12-quart stock pot because I wanna point out that you don't need to use these plastic containers. We only use these to show you so that you could see on television, you could see in. But when you're at home, you can use whatever
it'll clamp onto
thing you want that it'll clamp onto. So I did a side-by-side test in the Food & Wine test kitchen, and believe it or not, it took a bottle of wine in a typical ice bath to chill. It took 30 minutes. With the circulating device, with the sous vide cooker and wine chiller, it took 10 minutes.
That's crazy. A third of the time.
Literally a third of the time.
Yeah.
And it's not only good for wine, but you have your sodas in here, you have your beers in here. You can, because this is a powerful unit, you can attach this to a giant ice bath for your party, you know, and keep that going and keep that going.
It moving. Yeah, well, it makes good sense, you know. It's like, you know, hey, listen, when you make ice cream, you put the ice in there, you keep things moving to get that frozen temperature spread around. It's the same thing. All right, I have 800 of these left to go around for everybody out there. I know you're dying to try it, but I know for a lot of you out there, and Justin, you said it right in the back, nobody wants to spend $300-400 on one of these things.
No, and believe it or not, when I was I graduated culinary school, and when this thing first became, when a home sous vide device first became available, it was $2,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I bought one of those, and I can't believe, what are we selling it for? $89?
I know. I would easily pay $189. It's only $89 today. It was $129. We dropped the price, lowest price we've ever done, and it's free shipping and handling. If you want to get it up for $17.99, do it. You know, I've heard everybody talking about veggies. I've heard people talking about eggs, like doing like cooked eggs inside here is amazing.
Well, you saw our video that we had our little preview. So you can actually put whole eggs into the sous vide cooker.
In the shell?
In the shell.
Okay.
And it literally perfectly hard boils them or soft boils them. And one of the things
they can never overcook.
They can never overcook. It's so crazy.
As long as I keep it at the right temperature, I can leave it in there for a month. And when I come back, it'll still have a runny yolk because it'll never get hot enough to cook that yolk.
It will never get hot enough to cook that yolk. And believe it or not, so I don't want people to get freaked out about the temperatures that you should be cooking things at, because one of the things that you get with the sous vide cooker is you get the manual. And the manual will have a temperature guide, so it'll tell you what you should be cooking your chicken at. It'll tell you what you should be cooking your potatoes at, what you should be cooking your beef at. And
you want a knife to cut
yes,
them,
I was just gonna say, should we you want to do the honors?
Whatever. You know me, I like to be involved.
Check out this potato. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Look.
I mean, what the?
Look at that. Look at it.
And now cut one of the, like, I'm gonna move some of these over here.
Let's do a carrot.
Do a carrot. So your potato salad, your hash browns. You cook your potatoes before you go to work or before you go to sleep. Look at that.
It's perfectly cooked.
It's so incredible. Oops, sorry.
Snap. Oh my gosh, it's just the way I like them.
Crisp, tender.
Not mushy.
Exactly.
I don't want mushy.
No mushy.
Oh, did you
today is the end. There's herbs, because you can, again, just like we did with the chicken, you can season all your vegetables differently. So let's say little Susie doesn't like crushed red pepper.
Right.
So you don't put it on her carrots, but you know, I love crushed red pepper. You know, your husband might love crushed red pepper. So I'm gonna take one of these out because we also did pork chops. Will you add a little oil to that pan there?
My friend.
I know we don't have too much time, but I wanna get one of these in there. And I'm gonna leave one out to cut, and then I'm gonna put one in there.
Okay, you go right ahead whenever you're ready. It's nice and smoking, the way we like it.
Oh, goodness. All right, here we go. I'm gonna switch spots. I'm gonna switch spots with you.
Yeah, you go ahead and do it because it's gonna splatter a little bit.
I know.
All right, now watch. Now this is already cooked.
This is already cooked.
What are we doing at this point? Just doing what? Adding a little
We're just adding a little fond, a little Maillard reaction going here. We're caramelizing just the outside of the meat to get it beautifully brown. And it just takes, and one of the crazy things here is we had a smoking pan. I literally just turned off the heat. So I got it hot, flipped it over. Look at that.
That's
in just 10 seconds.
All right, I have 700 of these remaining. We are just about out of time if you want to get it. If you've always wanted to own one of these things, I'm telling you, today is the day to do it. Whether you're chilling or whether you're heating, try it out. It's a lot of fun to use in the kitchen, and anybody can do this. You are coming back tonight for the Monday Night Show, correct?
I will be here.
Thank you, my friends.